Now, we have a lot to discuss, and I think one of the most important ones, and I'm sure Jeff wants to get at this, but I think Jesus, this just went viral on the Joe Rogan show, Jesus being objectively real. Now, I think I would agree with Andrew that there's obviously other religions, they say that he did exist, but that is he the son of God? Is that the argument? So you're saying, Jeff, I guess I kind of want to elaborate on that for a couple of minutes, that you think he's objectively did not exist. Andrew, what do you have to, I guess, prove, that Jesus existed? I think that's...
I have scholarly consensus, and Jeff does not. In fact, one of the scholars that Jeff notably references quite a bit also claims that Jesus himself, it's actually foolish to believe that the person who was Jesus Christ did not exist. I mean, that's mainstream scholars agree on this. And so there's more scholarly evidence in agreement of Jesus of Nazareth than there is for Socrates. We have more evidence for that than we do for Socrates, who has no written works at all. Where's any of Socrates' written works, Jeff? Where are they?
Well, I'm not talking about Socrates. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. And I was a minister for 20 years full time. I'm a Bible college graduate. I have over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical text. So I take everything back to the biblical text. And my question, no matter how you are trying to spin it, Andrew, is simply this. If Jesus was real, we should be able to have a extra biblical, non-Christian verification of Jesus. Would you give me one specific?
Yeah, it's called the Shroud of Turin. It's a non-biblical material consideration which is unexplainable via scientific method of any type whatsoever. The imagery which is in the Shroud of Turin from the image of Christ, it is non-replicable by any scientific methodology to date. It was impossible for the time. You cannot prove any way scientifically that this could ever have been made in the time of which it came into mainstream discovery in France. You can't do it. It's impossible. That is an extra biblical material piece of evidence, Jeff.
Are you trolling me right now, or are you serious?
I'm serious.
Well, I didn't know that you would go this way, but with any amount of study, you can find reams of scholars that will testify that the Shroud of Turin could not possibly be the burial shroud of the Jesus character, because
based on what?
Based on time. The time, it's way, way too old to be the Shroud of Turin. I think the best evidence shows that shroud is actually...
Wait, real quick, Jeff, you say it's actually too... Wait, I thought the argument more was that it's not old enough. So you're saying the Shroud of Turin is too old?
No, I misspoke if that's what I said. I'm a little nervous.
No worries. You just said that. No, you just said that, and I thought the argument is that it's much younger. You said it's older. I was like, that doesn't sound right.
It's much younger, and I've actually done a lot of study on that, and in my conclusion would be that the best explanation of the Shroud of Turin is that it's actually the burial shroud of Jacques de Molay. The timing's right, the dating is right, and if you look at that picture, if you look at the representation that's on that shroud, and you look at the representations we have of Jacques de Molay, man, it's like a mirror image. So,
that's great. That's some great speculation, right? Just like if we look at the Atlantis and the starships, we can also correlate something to Arianism as well, Jeff. But the thing is ultimately, this is your belief. It's your belief structure, Jeff. I'm sorry.
You're telling me what my belief structure is?
Yeah, I asked you to elaborate on it, and you won't because you're embarrassed by it, Jeff.
No,
so the thing is,
you can say it's my belief structure. It's not.
Yeah, I mean it is. But anyway, so when it comes to the Shroud of Turin,
why don't you ask me what my
okay? Did Atlantis exist, Jeff? Did Atlantis exist, Jeff?
Yes, I think so.
You think so? And that's based on your expert opinion, right? Because you're an expert scholar.
Real quick. No. When you say Atlantis, I just want to clarify this. Are you talking about a civilization that existed before the flood? Because I mean,
yes, this would be pre-cataclysm. Pre-cataclysm.
Yeah, obviously. So, do you agree? Can we agree though, Jeff? Do you think there was a great flood at some point and that everything was flooded out?
Yeah, I think there's objective, empirical, anthropological and geological evidence.
Now, why would I bring this up? I bring this up.
He asked me a question. Why don't you hush for a minute?
Why don't you shut up, Jeff? While I'm talking.
Okay, let's be cool. Let's be cool.
Jeff. Stop frigging, Jeff.
You over
Now,
bro?
now, I'm just trying to explain because he asked me a question first. He asked what does this have to do with it? So I'm trying to explain it. Trying to explain what it has to do with it. So just so you know,
tell you what I believe, and he wants to answer my question.
So let's hear Andrew. Let's hear Andrew.
So anyway,
Jeff. Everybody's going to get a chance.
The reason I bring this up is because Jeff says, the reason that I bring this up at all is because Jeff claims that he's a scholar. Jeff claims that he's a scholar and that he's sourcing his hundreds of thousands of hours in biblical evidence, which you don't even believe he has, but what he claims he's sourcing as 100,000 plus hours from his scholarly position. I need you to understand that scholars also often discredit themselves. They discredit themselves by giving you discoveries that aren't actually discoveries, that are based in nonsense. And so that way we can test their methodology. In this case, I think that Jeff, who's making these incredible claims, like, I think the Shroud of Turin comes from blah, blah. So what? What makes you the expert, Mr. Guy who...
A lot of people make that claim, to be fair.
Yeah, okay, well, let's find out. Let's find out where the expertise goes.
Let's see, Jeff. So the flood in
what did you ask me before Andrew cut me off?
Well, I was kind of wondering what is, I guess, in your mind, that was a lot of writing, but, is that what you consider Atlantis, the civilization before the flood? I guess, what is, if you think that there's an Atlantis, let's just kind of, what is your general idea of what it was?
Yeah, even though Andrew says this is my doctrine, I have no idea what he's talking about. I do believe there was an Atlantis, and I do believe that there was a great flood. Now, can we empirically prove it? Probably not. But yeah, I do believe there was a great flood, and I do believe Atlantis did exist.
And this is why this is important for us to bring up. I need to understand what your methodologies are for coming to the conclusion that Atlantis ever existed. The only reference found is from one source, as far as I'm aware, which is Plato, who was also talking in a broad, sweeping sense about republics and all sorts of things in the abstract. So I would actually like to know what Jeff Doherty's methodologies are for this. As the scholar, Jeff Doherty, that's very important, I think.
This is actually a big red herring, because we're supposed to be talking about Christianity. He wants to talk about Atlantis.
That is true.
I'm talking about credibility.
Jeff is being true, though.
I'm talking about credibility. So first of all, if you claim that you're a scholar, hang on, stop. If you claim that you're a scholar, if you claim you're a scholar and that you have methodologies which would lead you to believe that Atlantis existed, Atlantis, the mythological city and the mythological cities of Hyperborea, the mythological northern literal legend of Hyperborea actually existed in reality, in objective reality. I want to understand the methodologies that you're using to come to these conclusions, and then I'm going to apply those same methodologies to make sure that you're applying it consistently to these claims as well.
As I said to Alex, we can't empirically prove that Atlantis existed. You're on a red herring here. You've already said that you're telling me what my beliefs are. Those aren't my beliefs.
So I just believe it.
I didn't call myself a scholar. All I'm saying is that I believe in the text, the whole text, and nothing but the text. And the reason why I'm so big on the text, I think the greatest way to get somebody to free themselves from Christianity is simple. Get them to read the Bible. I thought we were here to talk about Christianity, and we've been arguing for 20 minutes about Atlantis.
Do you agree that a key tenet?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is
so I'll
true.
respond. Do you agree that a key tenet of Christianity is faith and belief? That's a key tenet.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. But you say, I believe in Atlantis, right? It's a belief.
No, I didn't say I believe in Atlantis.
You literally just said that to Alex.
I said it's possible that there is Atlantis, but we can't prove it empirically.
So you don't.
Okay, enough about Atlantis. Enough about Atlantis. All right.
Thank you.
Well, actually, what we're talking about is belief. We're talking about what makes
you're
belief,
right.
what makes belief foundational, and what makes the epistemic claim correct. That's what we're actually talking about. The reason that this is important is because what Jeff is doing is he's applying a form of epistemology here. Okay, how we know things, how it is that we can make determinations about things. He made a claim here, right? Listen, it's a key point. Empirically, we can't say X, right? So this means that Jeff is going off, and his methodologies are utilizing empiricism, which is its own brand of both philosophy, and it can be used as a form of scientific methodology. It's important that we understand and establish the methodologies that Jeff is using when we're comparing his claims to that of notable scholars who've been studying this issue for thousands of years. So when I ask about these questions, they're pertinent, they're key, and I want to know the epistemic foundations that Jeff has in which we can make knowledge claims at all. How do we determine what is knowledge, Jeff?
When I say empirical, I'm not talking about I know you have a $500 debate course and you're the blood debater, but the blood sport debater. But when I say empirical, it's easier, Andrew, just to ask me what I mean than to go off on these things and tell me what I mean. When I say empirical, I mean not opinion based, that there's some facts for it, some objective. I use the word empirical. I think that's correct in the English language. I don't see any objective empirical facts where I can point and say, oh, yes, Atlantis was real. But we're talking about Christianity. And since you're talking about faith, let me ask you, is faith that Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins and rose again the third day, is that sufficient enough to make you a Christian in your mind, since we're talking about faith?
No.
So you're faith and works guy, Andrew?
Yeah, so I'm an Eastern Orthodox, right? We have I think you're talking about perhaps penal substitution atonement.
What I'm talking about is
very heavily.
You say Christianity, the people that hear you,
Christianity is not a mind
else.
But listen, I need you to understand that the distinction between how we view Christianity, and I don't speak for the church, okay? Yeah, and if anybody in the church wants to correct this, or somebody who's higher up, which is everybody, they're welcome to. I can just give you my understanding. So the understanding is Christianity itself is not just a state of mind. It's not just a state of, I believe in Christ, so therefore all things good. It's a process towards what's called theosis, the idea of participating in the energies of God. That is theosis. That is what the root of Christianity is about from our worldview, not about, I just believe that Jesus Christ died for our sins, and so now everybody's happy and happy as can be. I think that it does require more than that there is more to it than that. Yes.
Okay. So just to make sure I'm understanding you, if someone, according to Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10, confesses with their mouth that Jesus is Lord, believes in their heart that God raised him from the dead, Romans 9 and 10 says they will be saved. But if I understand you correctly, Andrew Wilson says, no, that's not true.
Well, you can't unfortunately for you, what you're doing is you're cherry picking. So the Bible's holistic and self-referencing. So anytime you point out anything, literally anything, I guarantee you that I'll be able to pull scripture which agrees with me. Jesus also built a church, and he came to leave us a church, and he's very specific. In fact, all of the things which you're referencing in the New Testament are letters to Christ's church. That's what all the apostles, that's what they were. That's what Matthew was, and Mark and Luke, and all of it was all letters to the church. And what they were trying to convey is how the church has to conduct itself. The belief in Jesus Christ has a guiding principle and Christian ethics behind it. And more, it has theosis behind it. It's not just a matter of a mind state. It's much more complex than that.
So can you give me a biblical...
Real quick, Jeff, because we're talking about this. Now we're talking about the Bible. Let's actually get on the Bible. Let's talk about Constantine's influence on Christianity. I'd like you to actually elaborate on that, Jeff, and then, you can rebut that, Andrew.
Okay, I think we really need to get back to that because that's very, very important. I would like to know the Bible texts that refute Romans 10, 9, and 10. We
can get it.
It's not a refutation. What I'm saying is that you're missing on the key points of synergy. Like you do this with Paul too. You say, well, Paul, you said this to a girl in a 2016 interview. You were like, Paul was basically telling women to go make him a sandwich, right? Like, shut up and go make it. Okay, well then so was Peter, because Peter affirms everything Paul said about submission to your husband. So the thing is like Paul did not come and change the continuity of the Bible. Peter reinforces exactly what Paul is saying. So like you just omit that. And
no,
so
I agree with you.
What I'm saying to you, well, you didn't agree then. So what I'm saying to you, yeah, you do now. So what I'm saying to you is that these referent points that you have, you're missing out on these keys, which is if you can point to Romans and say, here's what I think it means. But absent
it's not what I think it means. That's what the text says.
Absent the rest of what the teachings of Jesus Christ and the apostles were, you don't get a clear picture. That's not how it works, man. First of all, the Bible's a liturgical book. It's not even made for the layman. It's good for the layman to read it. Really? Yeah, it's good for the layman to read it.
Why does your church say they shouldn't read it without the commentaries of your...
They don't.
They do.
They don't. They tell you to read your Bible all the time. In fact, the Eastern Orthodox Church, you do more Bible reading than you do inside of a Protestant church. Ask me how I know that, Jeff? They tell you to read it all the time. They explain to you all the time. And the reason that they do say, look at footnotes from like the Eastern Orthodox Study Bible, things like this, or talk to priests, is because they can give you something very valuable, which you're not giving people: context, contextualization, the understanding of apostolic succession, how these things have been divinated out over 2,000 years. This is a complex, very complex formula. It's not like just as easy as I have a mind state, therefore saved.
Well, you have a right to your beliefs. You have a right to your opinions. But I don't care if people are Christian or not. I do care, but I'm not here to try to change anybody's faith. That's their right. But I think they deserve to have all the information. And when you say that Romans 10:9 and 10, if you follow Romans 10:9 and 10, and it doesn't give you salvation, I think that will surprise a lot of people. And I think that the burden is on you to find a text from the Bible to prove that. And then you go back to women. I'm in complete agreement with you. The Bible is horribly misogynistic. Paul was misogynistic. Peter was misogynistic, 100%. And I don't understand why ladies that read that will still go in and give their money. I was an evangelist for 20 years. I traveled church to church to church. And every single church I was in, at least 60, 70% women, at least 67, 70% women giving the money. And why do you ladies stay in the church when they think this way about you?
Okay.
Well, this is Romans 10:9-10. It says, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord. Yeah, and that's
and here's all the Bible text about works. You can find it in Proverbs 3:27, Ecclesiastes 9:10, Ecclesiastes 12:14, Matthew 5:14, 6 through 16.
Are there contradictions in the Bible?
Hang on. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Matthew, I didn't interrupt you. I let you go through your whole spiel.
About turns.
Matthew 25:40, 2 Corinthians, Galatians 6:9-10, Ephesians 2:10. The list goes on and on and on, where it's discussing how your works do affect your salvation. Now, this also makes logical sense, because how could you affirm faith absent works? You can't even do it. It makes no sense. When you talk about in Protestantism, you say, well, there's a lot of women in Protestant. That's true. In fact, it's like a 60-40 split. So 60% of Protestant churches are filled with women to 40% men. Same thing with Roman Catholicism. Not the case with Eastern Orthodoxy. Not the case. It's reverse. It's the one church that is reverse, right? It allows you to retain masculinity inside the church. I agree with you that feminists have subverted Protestant church. It was not always this way. This is a recent development. Feminists have subverted. They even wrote the women's Bible, where they tried to take the miracles away from any of the good works of men away from the men. The feminist Bible is a real thing. You can look it up. I'm not kidding about this. Just so that you understand, these are not. You're looking at this through the fallacy of modernism. It's literally a fallacious. I'm giving you a logical fallacy. It's the fallacy of modernism. So when you say, I don't know how women can look at this and not think of these people as a bunch of evil misogynists, this and that. But what was in there that was misogynistic? That wives need to submit to their husbands, but that they were taken care of literally by their husbands in exchange for that submission, that you shouldn't just arbitrarily get a divorce. Jeff, do you think that's worked out well for society when you got 55% of people divorcing, where just 60 years ago, we didn't have that? This is what I'm saying, man. It's like, it makes no sense.
You're asking a lot of questions and I don't get a chance.
Real quick, I want to clarify, Jeff, you probably do think women should submit to their husbands though, right, Jeff? Or you don't think that?
No, I don't think that. I think it should be an equal partnership. And the point you asked, what is it in the Bible that's bad? Well, when you say that a woman should shut her damn mouth in church and that it's wrong for a woman to have authority over a man, and you also say in the Bible that if women don't cover their heads, they're going to be raped by angels. When you are saying these things, you're being terribly abusive of women. And I ask the question, why do ladies put up with that when they don't have to?
Because unlike you, Jeff, some people can apply logic. And the thing is that there's nothing illogical about telling women to cover up in church so that people can focus on what is going on at church rather than focusing on their bodies or having to deal with lustful feelings, this type of thing. Which
so it's the ladies' fault.
You can pretend. No, it's not the fault. This is not a fault. This is a thing which is built into human beings. If you see a hot chick, it can be very distracting. And so what you're doing is you're creating an elimination of distraction. It's not the fault of women, but it's not the fault of men. It's basic ontological hardwiring, right? Men want to stick the PP in the V, right? Pretty simple. The thing is, it's like the controlling lust is one of the tenets of Christian ethics. And so, of course, inside of church, they tell men also to dress modestly. Men aren't allowed to go in all buff with tank tops on and big muscles hanging out everywhere and be distracting, right? Because that could create distraction. Some churches, women can dress like harlots too. What's your point?
That's true.
Those aren't real churches. What I'm saying to you, hang on, Jeff, I'm almost done. What I'm saying to you is that just like with men, men aren't allowed to go in and be distracting to women who are practicing the faith. Women aren't allowed to do it either. The guidelines are completely, from your view, would be egalitarianism. Neither of you can do this. Neither one of you.
And I agree. But again, you're putting words in my mouth is the way I hear, because I'm not saying, I didn't talk anything about how women dress in church. I talked about you telling them they can't speak in church. Yeah. I talked about, let me finish, please. I talked about you telling them that they have to be staying at home. I talked about you telling them that they can't, I'm saying you, I'm talking about the Bible, that they can't have any authority over men. I'm talking about Paul saying that it wasn't the man that sinned, it was the woman. These are the things I'm talking about, not the silliness. Okay. I've been in Pentecostal. Let me finish. I've been in Pentecostal churches, and it's so stupid. The skirt's too high, the hair's too low. I agree with you. No, we're talking about taking away, treating women like they're not, like they're second-class citizens. I think that's wrong. I don't know why ladies put up with it.
Well, let's dive into this. First of all, when you're discussing this, you say, well, I don't understand. Women are second-class. They're not treated as second-class citizens. They're treated according to the ontological nature of which women have, and the same with men. Men have a requirement and duty in society to sacrifice. You know how they do that, Jeff? They go die in foreign wars. They get blown to smithereens. They fight on the front lines. Women can't do any of that. Women can't really do law enforcement roles. Women can't really do the role of taking care of prison inmates en masse. Men have to make all of those duties and all those sacrifices. So you know what, Jeff? They get the big fucking piece of chicken, Jeff. That's how it works. They get the big piece of chicken because they do the lion's share of the things that make you die. So they get that's not women being second-class citizens. That's men being second-class citizens, Jeff. It's us adhering to our duties to women. It's just that you give women an out and say you have no duty. Biblically, this is what is found actually in Christianity, that men have a higher duty and that we should not fall susceptible to women, much like Adam did to Eve. We have a higher duty to women, and that what we do is we protect women from themselves and we protect them from evil men. We do both of those things. Women are incapable of doing either of those things by your own admission.
Whose own admission?
Yours. You just said women can't do any of these things. You can't fight on the front line. They can't be the cops. They can't do these things.
I said it's best for women not to be in combat, to be cops. If I'm in a burning fire, I want Alex Stein, a big strapping man, pulling me out. I don't want a girl come pulling me out.
Yeah.
All I said, and again, you're trying to twist my words, was it is wrong, in my opinion, and I don't know why ladies go to places and give money that say you can't talk, you can't work, you can't have authority, and you are supposed to be in the kitchen, barefoot, pregnant, and making a sandwich.
None of that's ever said anywhere in the Bible. You're just straw manning it. Completely straw manning it. I can show you
exactly where it's
Show me. Show me where it says women are to be barefoot in the kitchen, pregnant in the Bible anywhere. Lying Jeff.
Really? Okay, so we're going to go that. You're going to do that.
Well, one? The thing is like, just if you're going to say, if you're going to make this claim, you're going to be like, what's really going on here is they want you pregnant in the kitchen, barefoot, making a sandwich. That is not biblical ethics. Has nothing to do with biblical ethics. All biblical ethics is trying to show you is that due to the ontology, the distinct being difference between men and women, the natural roles which men gravitate towards versus women are going to be set in a patriarchal sense always, no matter what. And it's because men are in the position to do things women cannot do. And the reverse is not true other than what? Pregnancy. And what does the Bible say? Through childbirth, that's how women are saved. That's one of the big paths to salvation for women is through childbirth. So
what are they saved from, Andrew?
It's a leading to Jesus Christ for the remission of sin.
And that's for being pregnant.
It's not the being pregnant that does that. It's the being pregnant is a natural occurrence that leads you to the belief of a higher like authority, higher power, something. All it's saying is this is a good way to start you on the path towards the belief in Jesus Christ. That's what it means. And so when you follow these footsteps, when you're talking about ontology, men's being, women's being, like you said, you want a man to pull you out of a fire. Why? Because you know a general rule, which is that men generally are a lot stronger than women. And so if you have to take the gamble, you want a man to come in and pull your ass out. Yeah, they exchange for that in societies. Men get the big piece of chicken. You can't give them the duty absent the responsibility. That doesn't make women second-class citizens, Jeff.
Does the Bible say that women have to shut up in church? Yes or no?
Yeah, they have to be silent in church. Okay. But hang on, what's the qualifier? The qualifier is, if you want correction, talk and speak to your husband, right?
Ask him at home.
And ask your husband about it. The husband, who is then the head of the household, will discuss it with you. They can then go to clergy and say, hey, there's a problem, there's an issue, this and that. Why? Well, because it's unbecoming for women to be in spaces with men by themselves. Even now, you could easily make the argument that it's actually dangerous for women to approach, in a vulnerable sense, many men who are in positions of authority, absent their protector, in this case, their husband. That makes complete sense, Jeff.
I just asked you a yes or no question, and I got a 4-minute answer.
I gave you a yes with a qualifier. So yes, and then I qualified the yes with the explanation.
The Bible does say that women should shut up in church, yes?
It says that a woman should be silent, right? And if she wants to clarification or correction, to go to her husband. So no, it says be silent. Yes, it tells them that they must be silent in church. So yes, and then the qualifier of why that is. What's wrong with that?
It said ask your husband at home.
Yeah, ask your husband at church.
Yes.
Well, now we're talking about the ethics of the religion, though, whether it's okay for women to have to be quiet in church.
It matters because these are the things in which he considers to be truth claims of oppression, things like this. It does matter.
Nobody said anything about oppression.
I would like to try to talk about.
You said it's oppressive to women.
No, I didn't. You said that
multiple times.
No, I didn't.
Alex, am I crazy? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said that it's oppressive to women.
Alex, I thought this was a discussion, not a discourse from Andrew.
No, but Andrew has been talking a lot, but I'm saying I do think that we're getting a little off the rails. But yes, Jeff was both. You guys kind of both agreed, because Andrew agreed and said there's a caveat that yes, they can't talk. And then you agreed that women are stronger and they have different roles. So we're kind of just at a standstill on whether you agree that the faith is nice to women, or Andrew says that So that's not really debating Christianity. I would like to talk more about the origins of Christianity and Constantine and the books of the Bible. I don't know, something a little more, not just how we feel about Christianity, whether it's wrong or good or bad, or whether he believes in a religion that you consider bad, because I consider Christianity good, but that's not important. What I'm saying is, well, how can we prove that Christianity is true and real, that Christ existed?
I think that one of the primary claims needs to revolve around Jesus Christ and the existence of Jesus. This seems to be one of the pinnacle. This seems to be one of the pinnacle claims that Jeff makes, and I'm fine diving into this. I have no problem with that, but just understand that if then this happens in all debates. If there's tangential complaints which happen, and in this case there is one, the Bible is oppressive, or this or that, or there's other claims that Jeff has made about this, then yeah, if it's tangential to it but related to it, they're going to get brought up likely. So yes, I'm happy to dive into Jeff. Why don't you tell the audience, right, what most biblical scholars' consensus is on if Jesus Christ was a living person or not?
Well, I'm not here to take orders from you, Andrew.
That's true.
To get back to where Alex was saying, let's talk about Christianity. Okay. I'm just trying to keep score. So you're saying, if I understand correctly, that faith in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, according to Romans 10:9 and 10, in your view, is not sufficient for salvation. Yes.
Yeah, I don't make the Eastern Orthodox don't make salvific claims. What I'm telling you is that the faith itself, right, is not saying that the determination of a simple mind state, the way you're framing it, I would say is false.
Okay.
That it is not a mind state itself. No.
Okay. So let's talk about Christianity. Is it true that you would believe that outside of your church, there is no salvation?
No, I just got done telling you, our church does not make salvific claims. So the way that we would view this, right? Again, I'm not a speaker
I've
for.
heard you call people fake Christians.
I'm
Can you
going to
tell
tell
me what a
you.
fake Christian
Yeah,
is?
I'll explain. Okay, there are some people who can be so over the top about the things that they believe that it is obvious. It's just obvious to the beholder, regardless of denomination, regardless of anything, that they're not actually Christians. I don't even think that that's in dispute here. However, when we were talking about the Eastern Orthodox view of it, and again, I'm a layman, right? I don't have the authority of the church to teach, and I'm just giving you my understanding. Okay. From the layman's understanding, from my understanding, we're not to make salvific claims. The reason we're not to make salvific claims is because we don't know the mind of God. We're not going to be arrogant enough to know the mind of God. The way that the church explained it to me and the way that it explains it to, as far as I know, to everybody is that you can, some people have the truth. The truth is written on their heart, right? But you can't get the fullness of the truth absent the Orthodox Church. It's not to say people outside the Orthodox Church cannot receive salvation. We can't make those claims. Just to say that absent the fullness, the likelihood of it decreases.
Well, can you explain to me then why in the Jerusalem Council of 1672, they clearly stated that it is impossible to be saved outside of the Orthodox Church?
Yeah. So the thing is like, it depends on when you're talking about these councils. Okay. And I'm not an expert on every single council which has ever occurred. Okay.
There's only 7 of them.
I'm not a bit. Yeah, that's a lot, dude. Okay. First of all, that's a lot. And second of all, I'm not a scholar on each and every individual decree or things like that. For things like that, you'd want a person who was more of a scholar like Jay Dyer to dive in to the hyper.
Jay Dyer's been running
hang on, bro.
For 10 years.
Just chill out. For the hyper,
I'm here, Jay Dyer. Come
for
and
the
get me.
for the hyper specificity, right, of the claims of the various councils. There's other people who would be better at addressing those than myself.
Andrew, I think you're being dishonest. I think you know damn good and well that your church believes that you can't get saved unless you belong to your church. I think you know it and you won't say it.
Well, I think Andrew's being honest.
Listen, man.
They don't make
listen,
yeah, I mean,
nobody would be happier to tell you, Jeff, that you're going straight to hell right this second than me. I would love to do that.
No, the thing I love about your church
you
is
don't hate him that much, Andrew. Time out. You don't want him to go to hell. You know.
Well, I don't mind their hell. Their hell just says that you'll be separated from God, and there's nothing I'd love more than separation from the Bible God, Alex Stein. I'd love it. But my
you are going to hell.
Andrew, if you're
I want to address this. Let me
ask this one thing, Alex. One quick thing.
Let him ask. Let him ask.
Okay, all right.
Gosh, Andrew brought up hell.
Yeah.
And in the Eastern Orthodox definition of hell is separation from God.
Yeah.
How can
it's separation from the energies of God.
How can you be separated from an omnipresent God?
What do you mean?
Well, there could be a zone of that.
How can you be separated by an omnipresent God?
Do you understand that there's an energy and essence distinction? So now,
I feel like Jeff, now we're getting in the woods.
I'm trying to explain it to you. I'll explain it to you.
Well, I'm on your side, Andrew. I think even if you're omnipresent, there can be a region that you don't go to maybe on purpose. He chooses not. I mean, I think I don't know what Andrew's
the person
say,
chooses. The person is choosing to separate themselves from the energies of God. The person is.
Okay.
Well,
I can take that.
But Jeff, I want to go to this point because this was a pretty bold statement, and you kind of, just nobody really gave any rebuttal. Andrew, you accused Jeffrey of being anti-Christian because he's anti-Semitic, and you didn't say it in that terms, but you did insinuate that. So, Jeff?
I mean, look, I'm not here. Listen. I'm not here to be like to get off into the like Duisburg territory.
Yeah, I don't want to because we can't.
But
you said it. You threw
what
it
I've
out
noted. There. What I've noted.
You make a claim against me. Now you want
what I've noted. I'm not backing away. Yeah, I'm not going.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, Jeff. Look, we're on YouTube.
I'm not backing away from it, Jeff.
Careful, Jeff.
Sounds like you are.
I'm just trying to keep it TOS. Drop it to Rumble. Tell you exactly what I think.
That's what I'm saying, Jeff. We have to be kind of cool.
The thing is like here. I'll make it super easy for you, Jeff. Okay. I think that the reason that you hate Christianity is because, like Adam Green, you believe it's a Jewish conspiracy in order to oppress white people.
In other words, I don't
hang on, bro. Can I finish?
Well,
you just say, Andrew, you got to back away from the claim. You want to let me make the claim.
I don't hate
you need to take over. You're going to be able to talk after this because Jeff, you keep asking questions. That's why Andrew's talking so much. So maybe less questions and more of your opinion. But Andrew, please state what you want to state.
Yeah, I'm literally giving you your chance for cross-examination. You cut me off every time I try to start to give you the answer. So I think,
Andrew, let's both not
right there. You did cut him off again.
How about that? Well, how many times did it cut me off?
Well, I know, but I don't want to have to mute, guys.
I won't do it anymore.
We don't have much time left. We only have about,
deal. We just won't cut each other off for the rest of the debate. How about that? All right. So anyway, back to this. I'll just tell you what I think, based on what I've watched of even your recent content, even going back just 4 months ago to your top 10 reasons I don't believe in Jesus. You outline in that there is a Jewish conspiracy. The Jewish conspiracy is designed specifically to eradicate white people. That is what you believe.
No, it's not what I believe.
Okay, well then, can you explain what you meant when you say white meat, and these people are trying to completely destroy white meat? And then I can give you the timestamp. In fact,
no, you didn't listen
I'm going to give you the timestamps. Hang on, let me give you the timestamp.
You didn't listen well, Andrew.
43-minute mark. Thank God we saved the white race, says Jeff Doherty. Okay, 43-minute mark of your top 10 reasons why you don't like Christianity. I made sure to mark this, Jeff. 43 minutes. Anybody can go look. Thank God we saved the white race, says Jeff. And Jeff says, thank God for us because we saved it, and thank God for some of our collaborators because we saved it. You literally thank yourself for saving the white race, Jeff. I don't know how you walk away from that one.
I appreciate you, Jeff, for saving us. Thank you.
Number one, that's not what I said. And what I said was that I'm white. I don't know if you notice. I love my race. And I don't know if you notice, Coke is saying be less white. DEI's crushing white people. You can't get hired as a firefighter if you're white. I don't have to go into this. I love my race. I love the white race. I'm here to optimize my race. I also love the black race, the brown race, the yellow race, the red race. I don't think Christianity is a religion for any of those people. And I'm encouraging people to go back to their indigenous gods and to walk away from the Judeo-Christian God, because he's not the God of the white man, the black man, the brown man, the yellow man, or the red man. And if my work can help some people realize that, then all of the individual races can be optimized, which will optimize the whole human race.
This is great. I'm glad to get into this. So the idea here of all of Western and Eastern Europe, right? How long has it been under the dominion of the non-pagan gods? It's been under the dominion for 2,000 years. I mean, it's literally, and by the way, it's going to be under the dominion for 1,000 more years. Christianity is the white man's religion, whether you like it or not. And it has been, it has been for a long time. And the pagan Nordic religions are dead. They don't pass muster. And why would you want them to? Why would you want people to go back and worship Loki, turned into a horse and fucked another horse, Jeff, and turned into a trans person in order to have sex with men? Why would you want them to go worship those gods? How's that helpful to the white race?
First of all, as I have a minor degree in anthropology, and human culture with the ability, the sophistication to support religious thought, it's been around for about 50,000 years, give or take. Christianity at best has been around for 2,000 years. So for 48,000 years, heathens built great civilizations, built great culture, gave great literature, gave great medicine, gave great moral thoughts and doctrines.
Which ones?
Well, but there were smart people before.
No, here's the thing. Here's the actual truth. And Mr. Anthropologist
interrupted me.
Mr. Anthropologist,
you did interrupt.
Go ahead, finish, Jeff. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
Now I forgot what I was saying.
Well, he lost his train of thought. You were talking about.
You were saying great morals. They gave us great morals, great civilizations. That's where
they probably had some okay morals. I mean, there's
here's the actual truth.
Can I finish my statement?
Go ahead.
And Rome ruled the entire world for over 1,000 years, and we had Pax Romana, a peaceful world. It wasn't until Christianity reared its ugly head in the Roman Empire, and then the Roman army marched out and systematically, ethnically cleansed and genocided every single pagan population with the Roman short sword. Either you convert or you die. What a religion. You got to threaten people with death to get them. And Listen, when I started my work 15 years ago, over 70% of people in America said that they were Christian. Now, less than 50 do. I won't take credit for all of it, but I'm taking credit for some of it. Now, 40% of them are these radical Christian nationalists, radical Christian identityists. And if you think pagans are gone, baby, and you want to battle with us, you better be careful what you ask for.
Okay, well, I'm asking for it, Jeff. So let's get into this. So first of all, when you're talking about paganism, paganism was so great. The people were crucifying everybody. Oh, they were fantastic. They would murder children. They didn't give a shit, Jeff. They didn't care. It's in their literature. When you're talking about Rome had upheaval after upheaval after upheaval all the time. It was inconsistent upheaval like most of the ancient world. Also, as an anthropologist, you should know, written history only started about 10,000 years ago. We don't really have anything from before that. We have light anthropological evidence of some civilizations. We don't even know how advanced they were. We have no clue, right? Written history didn't even start until 10,000 years ago. Most of the civilizations from pagans, we don't even know what they believed, Jeff. Why don't you tell people that? How it is that we didn't really even know. Like 10,000 years ago, you don't even know what people were worshiping. You have no clue. And especially depending on region and demographic, you especially have no clue. So what happens here is that the few remnants which have remained after the burning of the library at Alexandria, there's not that much. Okay, there's not that much. No, not by Christians. Yes, okay, so listen, after the burning of the library at Alexandria, there's not much. Okay, there was not much left as far as the barbarian records. Now, we don't even know how much was actually, we don't even know how much was actually there. This is all speculation. So, like, for instance, if I asked you, what did they worship in ancient China 9,500 years ago in, the Sun Providence? You couldn't tell me that shit because we don't know, Jeff.